Fruit tree guilds are a great way of combining productivity and beauty to give you long-lasting abundance in the garden, and it is surprisingly easy to do. So here's what you need to plant and create your own fruit tree guild. Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back. Another month and another step onwards in this year's big project for me, which is shifting my entire vegetable garden from being just that, a vegetable garden, across to being my guild garden, a productive, beautiful, and I'm hoping abundant space that's going to be full of lovely fruit trees, edibles, and flowering plants. In this episode and in last month's episode, which you can watch up here, I'm covering the 6 main plant groups that make up a successful fruit tree guild. Now, if you're not sure exactly what a fruit tree guild is, or a tree guild is, it's a concept that's rooted in permaculture design. These guilds are essentially communities of plants that closely mimic natural ecosystems, providing mutual benefits to each other. So what I'm hoping is that by showing you what I'm choosing to plant, it should help you get to grips with the concept. So let's get planting, because I've been doing loads of planting, but I'm not finished yet, and I can't wait to show you what I'm putting in the ground. Out of all of the plant groups, I think this is the most exciting one, attractors, because this is where you can use flowers to bring colour, impact, form, and interest into your garden, even if it's a productive vegetable space. But at the same time, as nice as the plants are for us, they're actually essential for the guild. The primary function of attractor plants is to draw in pollinators, such as bees, butterflies, and in some cases, even birds, to help pollinate all of the fruit trees. But as well as that, these plants often attract predator insects that are going to feed on pests, which reduces the need for chemical pesticides, and it leverages natural pest control. The flip side of that then is that because attractor plants work by offering a rich source of nectar or pollen or both, they're going to encourage biodiversity by supporting that wide range of insect and bird species that we want to bring into the garden. I love flowers, and attractor plants are where I can go a little bit wild. And last year I had every colour under the sun here. Oranges, reds, yellows, pinks. But this year, I've decided to give the guild garden a more considered colour palette of dual tones. I'm talking purples and reds with hints of orange. So here's what I've been planting, and I have been at this 4 days. I'm planting monardas that have those crazy jester hat flowers in such an intense raspberry red. There's a red achillea here, and there'll be lots more, because last year's terracotta ones ended up yellow. And I mean yellow, so they're getting moved elsewhere. In these pots, I have cornflowers that I've brought on from seed. These are black ball with intense purple flowers. Then a couple of accent plants. Echinacea with its big cone-shaped magenta flowers that insects go wild for. And then this little plant here, this is an agastache or agastache or hyssop, which is going to have lovely lavender blue flowers. Finally, for some easy annuals, I'm growing these. These are French marigolds that are wild ones. I grew these last year. They grow a bit taller and they're a bit more rangy, but they have lovely red and yellow flowers. They're fantastic. And then I don't think the garden would be the garden without calendula, so I've got those seeds going as well. What I'm really hoping is that the colour mix this year is going to be lovely, but most of all, what I hope is that it's going to do the job that I need attractor plants to do, which is attract beneficial insects, pollinators, to help the guild and to help biodiversity. The next essential group of plants to add to your fruit tree guild are mulcher plants, like this comfrey that's starting to come back up. These are plants that are chosen because they have an ability to really contribute lots of organic matter back into the soil. These plants usually have nice vigorous growth so that they can produce lots of biomass. By planting these around the fruit tree, their leaves, their stems are going to decompose into a nice natural mulch, which is going to enrich the soil, reducing the need for fertilisers. Now, this layer of mulch is going to conserve moisture by locking that moisture under that mulch layer. It's going to suppress weed growth, and it provides nutrients as it breaks down. It not only enhances the soil fertility, but just like adding any other compost, it improves the soil structure, and it's even going to encourage beneficial microbial activity, which is great for a really healthy soil ecosystem. As I'm planting up each bed and weeding the beds, I'm making sure that I include at least one mulcher plant into every one of them. For instance, here I have comfrey. I think this is easily one of the best mulchers because not only does it produce an absolute ton of leaves, they're really high in nitrogen, but other great mulchers include rhubarb, which I have a few plants of dotted through here, and they also work as superb suppressor plants. And my Achilles, because as well as those lovely flowers, they actually produce quite a hefty mound of leafy growth that dies back every year, and it mulches the ground as well. Finally, I'm sowing some other lovely, really simple mulcher plants that might surprise you. Nasturtiums. When you think about it, they grow so fast, they produce lots of soft, watery, fleshy growth that the moment there's a frost, they effectively just turn to mush. Well, that's perfect. Another great mulching plant opportunity, plus some nice flowers as well. So you can see that as we add each different plant group, we're building a mesh of plants that are going to support each other and, most importantly, support each fruit tree that we have in our guild. Fixer plants, often referred to as nitrogen fixers, like this lovely big lupin here, are a brilliant component to add to fruit tree guilds. You'll have heard about high nitrogen fertilisers, right? They're the ones that encourage lots of lush, leafy growth in plants. Well, fixer plants are able to convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form that they and other plants nearby can absorb and use as a nutrient. Fixers are properly magic. They have a symbiotic relationship with nitrogen-fixing bacteria, which colonise the plant's roots. The bacteria then convert the nitrogen gas, and you can actually see where this happens. If you were to pull this plant up and look at the roots, you'll see little nodules, and those are where all of that nitrogen is at. I've got 5 main fixer plants here in the guild garden, and the good news is that they're all common plants and they're easy to grow. I plant edible peas each year and normally have them planted in rows, but this year I'm going to dot clumps all the way through the beds. Then of course there's sweet pea, beautiful and scented, and they fix nitrogen into the soil. Now, at this time of year also, I start to sow my summer beans, but don't forget that broad beans fix nitrogen too. And then finally, like I mentioned, the lupins. I just love these flowers, those big, tall, stately spikes of flowers. Now, this one and the ones in the garden last year were pink, and I'm not a big fan of pink. So this is actually getting lifted and replaced. Instead, what I have is I've planted new lupins, some that are red and one that's called Masterpiece. It's going to look epic. I can't wait to show you. Big, big purple and orange spires of flowers. So you can see that if you start looking, any plant that's in the legume family, peas, beans, lupins, they're going to fix nitrogen, and that's going to be great for the soil in your fruit tree guilds. Every month, I can see this guild garden building and transforming into a reality from what I have in my mind. And now, hopefully, you've got an insight into the 6 main plant groups that you really should plant if you're going to create your own. Now, if you would like to create your own fruit tree guild, or even multiple guilds, don't miss out this video because it'll let you see just how beautiful and successful mine were last year. And until next time, see you later.